Welcome back, guys. It's no secret that foreigners are starting to get a bad name in Medellin, Colombia. And it's for a variety of reasons. And that's what we're going to talk about today. I've actually gotten my girlfriend to do some research. She's been following a few local influencers over the past few months. We're going to explore that and find out exactly what type of tourist they're hating on right now. Why would you say that some Colombians may be looking upon foreigners in a bad way now?
I've actually seen videos of Colombians talking about the high prices in rent and in buying a property that is almost impossible right now.
Colombian influencers talking about it on TikTok or whatever.
Yes.
Okay, so what are they saying?
They're saying that it's completely impossible to buy now a property or to rent a place, to be independent from their families, unaffordable. Because of course there's people with higher incomes coming to the city, then everything goes up. I think it's good for people that own property and have them on Airbnb, of course, but for the other rest of the locals that we don't have businesses or we don't have own properties, this of course affects us because the prices are too high for just going out to drink a beer or enjoy.
So you're talking about the ancillary prices that come with tourism.
Jetas used to be a place that we could go every night with our family or with our parents and with our friends, stayed up until late, and it was fine. You were not going to be bankrupt because you went out one night.
Yeah.
This used to be the place that we would hang out every weekend.
Okay, so
it has a sentimental value for the people from Medellin.
This is very interesting, the ancillary pricing thing that you talk about. I always say it this way, right? The businesses are not all owned by foreigners. The businesses are owned by Colombians. They've always been owned by Colombians.
That's what I'm telling
you. The man in Provenza who had a bar 10 years ago was charging $2. He's a Colombian and he sees, there's people with more money coming in. Fuck it, I want more money. I'm going to charge $10.
Yes.
So
I understand that.
Is that a foreigner's fault?
Is that we cannot generalize. This is really good for business owners.
Yeah.
And when I'm talking about business owners and property owners, I'm talking about locals, Colombians.
Yes.
For them, it's amazing.
Yeah.
For the rest of the mortals
It's
in Colombia,
called capitalism.
I know, yes, but I'm saying, that's why some Colombians are not that happy.
Okay, so that's why the Colombians are not happy because...
Not saying that everyone...
No, that's why some Colombians are not happy because the same places they've been going for many years, maybe to have a drink with their friends, now are unaffordable. So they have to go to different areas.
Or you're giving the same product for 3 times the price.
Yeah, but what can you do about that? Someone might be watching this video now and be like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm doing that. I'm going to the city and ruining that for the locals. What can they do to make that better for the locals? Or is it just a thing that happens naturally in every city that is going so unknown to super popular? The prices are just going to rise. It's an economic phenomenon that happens.
I think that's happened and has nothing to do with the fault of the foreigners. It's the fault of not regulating things well.
But does that happen? Is there any regulation of maximum regulation? You can't charge more than $10 for a beer?
Not in beers, but I was saying in properties that you rent. You know that we just had elections.
Yes.
And some of them were against or in favor of regulating the prices of Airbnbs. And just so you know, the person that we elected for Medellin is in favor of not regulating, so it's not going to be regulated.
Fico.
No regulation.
Charge how much ever you want.
So yes, it has to do with how the government is regulating.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's just some tourists just coming. It has to do with the regulations of the city that are not in favor of the locals.
But anytime there's a political issue, it's usually an issue because it's 50-50 split. There's 50% of the people who we need to regulate it and that's better. But there's obviously another 50% who's like, no, this is my business. I want to make money, right? I think we can just actually summarize that point by saying there's nothing that can be done. That's business.
Yeah.
That's capitalism. You can't take all the benefits of your city finally being seen by the world, but then say, no, now we need prices to be low. It can't be both ways.
True.
You can go back to 20 years ago when it was just no one coming here because it was dangerous as fuck, but the prices can be low. Which one do you want? Which do you prefer?
No, I like it right now. I think it's more convenient. I don't think it's a thing to be against tourists because of the prices rising up. That has to do with how the government is regulating.
Is there any way to fix this? I mean, I understand the regulation point. You can't just charge $5,000-$6,000 for an apartment that should be worth $1,000. But if someone wants to pay it, you're gonna tell the landowner no. I understand you have this property that someone wants to pay $6,000, but you're only allowed to pay $1,000. I kind of feel dirty about that too, no?
limiting that guy who's gone to all the work of buying the apartment, furnishing it, putting it on whatever?
I guess it has to be some sort of regulation where they take into account a fair way of
I've never heard of this type of regulation anywhere else.
Well,
I mean,
I
I'm
don't
not
know.
a real estate
I'm not,
expert
and
of
I'm
many...
not a politician. I'm not. I don't come up with with the solutions. I'm just saying the problem.
Yeah, but I've never seen anywhere in the world where they're like, you can only charge this much for the apartment. It's just like, you charge whatever you want. The market sets the rate of, you charge 10,000 for a bloody hut in the wilderness. People are not going to pay it, so you progressively got to lower your price, right? The market dictates the price in a perfect economy. I'm not an economist, by the way. She's not a politician. With that said, let's move to the next point.
Okay.
10 videos to see of Colombia. 9 of them are like about chicks or sexual tourism or something.
Sexual tourism.
And what about that? Do they ever talk about the portrayal of Colombia in social media by foreigners?
Yeah, that's a really bad image of where you're showing women are here and how we like to be treated and this like very submissive kind of traditional woman. That's not true.
Yeah.
That's not true. So they share all of these wrong ideas and
With
not
the rest-
like with the rest of the world that
Yeah.
is not like what it represents us and not what we feel proud about.
Yeah, so do you see much of that? People talking about that on
Yeah,
TikTok and stuff? What do they say?
They say that they don't agree, and then of course that's the negative talking about the tourists is that specifically.
There's so many videos of like robbing, stabbing, killing. Is that another thing that people talk about and get mad about?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's just, how do you say amarillismo?
Sensationalizing.
Sensationalizing. It's like, of course, that's gonna bring people's attention, but that's not just what Colombia or Medellin is about. And also, like, you have to understand that this is a different culture and there's some security things, like, kind of like rules that you have to follow
Sure.
for it to be like a pleasant staying in the city. It's not just that. A lot of times it has a lot to do with the decisions that the tourists are making when they're here, the places that they're going, who are they hanging out with.
I'm a big believer in that as well. I always talk in my videos about like 99% of things can be avoided. Is there any other things that you've seen from following Colombian social media or even what your friends are talking about?
Generally, like, we're welcoming. We're happy that the city is being like kind of discovered by other cultures and all kinds of people. But yeah, if you come here to disrespect our culture, of course you're not going to be welcome.
Guys, leave us your comments. Let us know what you thought. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video and see you on the next one.